and welcome to the Eurogamer Show.
Oh, look what the cat dragged in. Where the hell have you been?
I was at Star Wars thing, and then I got a bit lost, and then I just fancied a break from you guys.
Charming.
Oh, go on, cheer up. Do you know what would cheer you up? Do you want to say it? Go on.
Coming up this week, Silent Hill's We Barely Knew Ye. We bid farewell to sexy digital Norman Reedus.
And Call of Duty, we know you slightly too well. Ian has a look at some of the more familiar aspects of Black Ops 3.
First though, remember how last week we talked to Bertie and Donlan about paid Skyrim mods?
No, I wasn't here.
I know. Anyway, Valve has done a complete U-turn on the idea, so now we have to talk about it again. Thanks, Valve.
I have some serious separation anxiety issues, you know that?
Paid mods, they've gone. Christian Donlan, what's happened?
Yeah, in the space of about a week, Valve introduced paid mods with Skyrim, and now, in the face of pretty much unanimous backlash from the community, they have taken them away again.
I think some people saw the positives in it. I think, last week we talked about it maybe a little bit idealistically, I don't know, but, the idea of people putting a lot of hard work into mods and getting some kind of benefit, maybe being able to do it full time, isn't the worst thing.
And the idea of game publishers seeing a value in making their games moddable, I think, is still really, really important. So.
Well, I think last week it was the kind of vision, wasn't it, in our defence, I guess, and Valve and Skyrim's.
Was there backlash against us as well?
Yeah, because that was the vision that people should, or maybe could be able to make a bit of money for what are, in some cases, very elaborate mods. But what they didn't necessarily see, probably when they were designing or launching this feature, was that, all the bundles of mods, and then you're like, well, whose little bit of mod gets charged for on Skyrim? And the fact that Skyrim's got years of mod content there already, and they came out and they were quite... It was a really honest, apologetic hands up. Not just from Gabe Newell, who came out and sort of challenged people, but on the Steam community, Steam Workshop page, they said, look, actually, we've messed up a little bit. We didn't foresee all these consequences. We need to go back to the drawing board and redesign this. We've got loads of your comments, and they got loads.
They got plenty.
But give us more comments, and so they gave them 4,000 more comments. And what was nice about that was that they listened to everyone. They didn't go, no, we know what's right.
Do you think the negative reaction was in part because people perceived this as being something which really was angled at publishers more than angled at modders?
Well, that's the thing.
If you're a modder, and if you have an idea for a mod, you're compelled to make it regardless of whether you're going to get money out of it, it seems. Whereas
because there's not very much to do that.
Yeah, this was very much a way of kind of addressing publishers. I mean, obviously modders would get a cut, quite a small cut in Skyrim, but this is really about publishers being told you can make money from letting people do this to your game. And I wonder whether that's why it got such a poor reaction, or part of it is because people felt like, well, modders aren't incentivized by money anyway, so it's not going to necessarily change the amount of mods they make, whereas it feels more about the publisher.
It was interesting in Gabe Newell's kind of comment on all of this. I don't know, he wasn't having a go at people. He was saying you need to come up with a better Valve is evil reason. I think he's probably right. But
that comment got downvoted like crazy.
Well, of course, because he's having a go at people. But
I just need to quickly point out, that's changed my entire thinking of Reddit. I thought Reddit saw Gabe Newell as their kind of deity, like he was the god of Reddit, and his word was gospel around these parts.
Well, he's going to have to try harder.
They turned on him, man.
He pointed out that a lot of people that are at Valve now ended up there through the modding community, which I thought was a weird comment to make, because that he's supporting free mods when he's saying that, and what modding has done and what people were trying to defend. But at the same time, his company is trying to bring in paid mods. I don't think Valve's evil. I think they just need to sort it out and try it again in a different way.
And by the sounds of it, this isn't necessarily the end of this idea. Like I think we'll see them return to this in some way, whether it's a donation button in Steam, which I'm not completely sold on that idea being, the one answer to this whole system, but somewhere later down the line, mods and the amount of work that goes into it and the quality of the content needs to be rewarded, I think, and I think mods can benefit from it.
I agree, and I agree with everything you just said.
Excellent, that's great.
Next up, sadly, our very worst fears were confirmed recently.
They made facial hair illegal.
No, Silent Hill's got canned.
Oh, yeah, that is tragic.
Although I am devastated that Silent Hills is cancelled, although I think we all saw it coming ever since the Konami-Kojima divorce was first announced, in a bittersweet kind of a way, I think it's for the best. Despite the fact that now I'll never know what two talented auteurs and one inexplicably attractive actor would have made of one of gaming's most iconic horror franchises, this way I get to have my hopes and dreams eternally untarnished and untouched, safe from cold, hard reality. Here's to the horror game that never was, and most likely never will be. Not only is Silent Hills cancelled though, but its fantastic free playable teaser PT has been pulled from the PlayStation Store. If it isn't on your hard drive right now and you haven't played it already, chances are, no you never will. Consider the door to that infinitely looping L-shaped corridor permanently shut. That kind of stings more than the fact that the game will never be completed. It's like Konami is trying to wipe the memory of its very existence from our collective consciousness. But you know, in a way, I think we did get a complete experience out of this. I very much doubt that Silent Hills, if it had lived, would have resembled PT in any way, shape or form. PT was self-contained. It hinted at a wider narrative, sure, but like all the best horror stories, it refused to explain itself. It actually made quite a few honourable mentions on 2014 Game of the Year lists, and it was, if you're feeling cynical, a piece of especially effective viral marketing. And in Konami's defence, it makes sense to get rid of a piece of marketing for a product you no longer have any intention of making or selling. But there were so many tantalising mysteries there, so many hints at a bigger story that utterly captured the imagination of an entire community. What was in that fridge? What was the exact formula for getting the 3 baby laughs that completed the final loop? Who or what was in the bag?
I could do nothing but walk.
How did Norman Reedus' character fit into all this? Where was this family buying their art from? But it's precisely because of its paltry running time and the simplicity of both its execution and design that PT was such a masterpiece of horror gaming. To add anything else would have, in time, just diluted its effectiveness. Even the second Silent Hills concept trailer, debuted at last year's Tokyo Game Show and never translated into English or even distributed by Konami or Kojima's official channels, showed signs of over-delivering on obvious jump scares and falling back on traditional horror tropes. To explain horror is to normalize it, to add logic where logic doesn't belong. And yet at some point or another, all horror games must explain themselves to some degree. Except smaller indie games like Slender and browser-based games like Witch. They, like PT, are short, self-contained experiences that defy explanation. They seed themselves in your brain, and then every so often when you least expect it, they'll pop back out and scare you all over again. Here's the thing about hype. It almost always disappoints. Had Silent Hills lived, it'd never have stood up to the endless theorizing and excited speculation the PT engendered. Now, PT endures only as the stuff of myth and legend, cut down in its prime, destined to live forever as this mysterious, doomed thing that was tragically cut down before it even had the chance to let us all down. It was perfect. In short, don't be sad that Silent Hills died, just be glad that PT lived, however briefly.
Very nearly it from us. We've just got time for a bit of Shooty Man action. Now with added Shooty Woman.
Yes, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was unveiled recently, and for the very first time, you can play as a woman in the campaign. Whatever next.
Unfortunately, not everything was quite so brand spanking new, as Ian's about to demonstrate.
I'm not saying that Call of Duty has run out of ideas, but judging by the recent COD Blops 3 reveal trailer, it kind of looks like they've run out of ideas. Surely there must be something original hidden somewhere in this footage though. Let's take a look. Okay, underwater shooting. Looks cool, eh? And it was 20 years ago when Duke Nukem did it.
What happens when the soldier becomes the weapon?
Well, we could just play Deus Ex Human Revolution for the answer to that. Deus Ex features loads of soldiers who've become weapons, most notably Lawrence Barrett, who did the whole arm transforms into minigun thing way before COD Blops went all futuristic. Oh, and sending little flying things out to kill your enemies. Sorry COD, Devora got there first. Sliding! Crisis! Oh, look, a spider mech, but that's not very original. Pretty much any futuristic war game has got some kind of spider mech in it. Look, here's one from Destiny. Now, this robot here, this is almost identical to Titanfall's Spyglass Spectres. What were they thinking? Wait, is that a warthog? Wall running? Did someone just splice a chunk of Titanfall in this trailer? Because, seriously. Line of sight gadget hacking? Take a bow, Watch Dogs. Explosive arrows, eh? Nothing new there either. Loads of games have had them. Look, here they are in Far Cry 4. Sonic? So, did I spot anything groundbreaking in there at all? Nope, but I'll probably still end up buying it anyway. Ugh, I hate myself.
That's all we got time for this week. I'm going to hamstring Aoife now so she can never run away again.
Yes, and if you enjoyed this episode... Wait, what?
It's for your own good. I mean, I'm going to give you a head start if you want one. If you did enjoy this episode, please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Come on, Aoife. Probably won't hurt that much.
These are not good working conditions.
Arriving at the new home of Platonic Games, which is this, right here, a small office with a paper sign on the door, easily missed in a business park full of them, it felt like we were visiting a team that was just getting off the ground, just starting out. And yeah, okay, Platonic is...